You've heard the pitch. Invest in companies that align with your values and make the world better. But you've also heard the counter. ESG is marketing fluff. It underperforms, and you're sacrificing returns for politics. Both of those takes are incomplete. Today, we're going to give you the honest, no BS breakdown of values-based investing in 2026, what it actually is, what the data says, and how to build a portfolio that reflects what you care about without blowing up your financial future. Let's start by defining the landscape. Values-based investing goes by several names. ESG investing, which stands for Environmental, Social, and Governance Factors, SRI, or Socially Responsible Investing, and Impact Investing. They're related but not identical. ESG is primarily a risk and analysis framework. It evaluates companies on environmental practices, labor and supply chain policies, and board governance. SRI historically meant exclusionary screening. No tobacco, no weapons, no gambling. Impact investing specifically targets measurable positive outcomes, like clean energy or affordable housing. Most retail investors are doing some combination of all three when they talk about values-based investing. Now let's address the return question head-on, because this is where most discussions get either defensive or dishonest. The academic research on ESG performance is genuinely mixed. Some studies show slight outperformance over certain periods, particularly because good governance tends to correlate with well-run companies. Other studies show underperformance, particularly in periods when excluded sectors like energy perform strongly, as happened in 2022. The honest answer is that over long horizons, a well-constructed ESG portfolio is unlikely to dramatically underperform a broad market portfolio, but it is also unlikely to dramatically outperform. If your primary goal is maximizing risk-adjusted returns and values are secondary, you probably want a standard total market index fund. If your values matter to you and you're willing to accept comparable but not necessarily superior performance, a values-aligned approach is entirely defensible. Here's the critical nuance most people miss. The ESG label on a fund tells you almost nothing by itself. The methodology behind that label matters enormously. Different rating agencies, MSCI, Sustainalytics, Bloomberg, often score the same company completely differently because they're measuring different things and weighting them differently. A fund labeled ESG might still hold significant positions in fossil fuel companies, defense contractors, or firms with poor labor records, depending on how the manager defines those terms. You have to look under the hood. So how do you actually build a values-aligned portfolio? Start with clarity on what you care about. Are you primarily concerned about climate, labor practices, weapons, political contributions, animal welfare? Your answer should drive your screening criteria, because no single fund optimizes for all of these simultaneously. Be specific about your priorities rather than grabbing whatever has ESG in the name. For most retail investors, the building block approach works best. Start with a core, low-cost, values-aligned index fund. Vanguard's ESG US Stock ETF, ESGV, and the iShares MSCI KLD 400 Social ETF, DSI, are among the most established options with reasonable expense ratios. Both use negative screening to exclude certain industries while maintaining broad market exposure. Compare their holdings and exclusion criteria against your specific values before choosing. If you want to go deeper, layer thematic ETFs on top of your core. Clean energy ETFs like ICLN or QCLN give targeted exposure to renewable energy companies. Social impact ETFs focus on gender diversity on corporate boards, community development finance, or affordable healthcare access. The key is to keep your thematic positions small, 10 to 15% of your portfolio, and to understand that these funds carry concentration risk and often higher volatility than broad index funds. For the do-it-yourself crowd, direct indexing is increasingly accessible in 2026. Services like Fidelity-managed FIDfolios, Schwab personalized indexing, and several fintech platforms now allow you to own the individual stocks that make up an index while customizing exclusions and tilts based on your specific criteria. Direct indexing also allows for aggressive tax loss harvesting at the individual stock level, which can actually improve after-tax returns compared to holding a standard index fund. The minimum investment amounts have dropped significantly. You can often access these services starting around $5,000 to $20,000. Let's also talk about shareholder engagement, which is an underappreciated tool for values-aligned investors. When you own shares, even through a fund, you have shareholder rights, including the right to vote on corporate proposals and to support shareholder resolutions on issues like climate disclosure, executive compensation, and supply chain practices. Some ESG-focused funds are more active in proxy voting than others. If this matters to you, check how your fund votes its proxies. Some large asset managers have been criticized for greenwashing, marketing ESG funds while voting against shareholder resolutions on climate and governance in practice. One more thing to be aware of. The regulatory environment around ESG labeling is evolving. The SEC has been increasing scrutiny of ESG fund marketing claims, which is generally positive. It should reduce greenwashing over time. But it also means the landscape is shifting. Funds that were marketed aggressively as ESG in 2020 may look quite different today. The bottom line: values-based investing is a legitimate approach that has become genuinely accessible to regular investors. But it requires more homework than buying a total market index fund. Be specific about your values. Look at fund methodologies, not just labels. Keep costs low, and stay realistic about return expectations. If you can do that, you can build a portfolio that reflects who you are without compromising your financial future. Hit subscribe for more advanced investment strategy, and drop a comment telling us, is values alignment part of your investment criteria, or does pure return optimization drive your decisions? There's no wrong answer.